Warning, the following video contains massive spoilers for Loki Season 1. You have been warned.
Welcome back to Joester Reviews, the show where we review things. Today's subject of reviewing is Loki, because every single video I've posted in the last month has been about Marvel. But before we get started with the review, I should probably mention something about my experience with the show that will probably impact my review a lot. So, I've pretty much had every MCU project spoiled for me, whether it be from one of my friends deciding to be a jackass, or from some idiot on the internet putting spoilers in the title of a YouTube video, or maybe it was my own damn fault for Googling the plot before watching it. Whatever it was, I've walked into pretty much every single MCU movie or show already knowing all of the big twists. Except for Loki. This was the one and only MCU Disney Plus show that my family could actually watch as the episodes came out. So, I had a pure, unspoiled heart going into this. Sure, I was keeping up with the fan theories from episode to episode, but I still didn't predict most of the twists. And besides, before I saw the final episode, I saw this YouTube video that was a review or something of the finale, and it had He Who Remains in the title. In case you don't know, in the comics, He Who Remains is a completely separate character from Kang, who at that point I was positive was going to be the leader of the TVA. So when Jonathan Majors as Kang came out on screen, I think I squealed internally. So I might think about this series more positively than I would have normally for actually having a twist that surprised me. With that said, let's get into the review. First, let's talk about the good. The first good thing that comes to mind about this show is the performances. Obviously, Tom Hiddleston has always been great as Loki, and Owen Wilson is an absolute legend, and the two of them have excellent chemistry. Their banter in the first two episodes was the best part of the entire show for me. And the girl who played Sylvie was great too. I'm writing this on an airplane and don't have access to the internet, so I can't Google her name, but she was also good. She gets the Joester Studios stamp of approval. And Tara Strong as Miss Minutes was a very nice touch as well. But the standout performance for me, by far, was Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains, or as he's also known, Kang the Goddamn Conqueror. I was saying from the beginning that he would be the villain, but no one believed me.
They called me a madman. And what I predicted came to pass.
Jonathan Majors' performance in the finale was great, and the entire episode had a very unique tension that left me on edge the entire time. He was absolutely amazing. One common criticism I saw was that the show was too dialogue heavy, and there wasn't enough action.
Come on. What did you expect?
This is Loki we're talking about. Talking his way out of situations is his specialty. Of course the show is going to be dialogue heavy. I feel like filling this with action would have been a huge mistake, because the point of action scenes in superhero movies is to show off the character's powers, right? And Loki's power isn't the ability to punch super hard or something, it's trickery. Of course the show is going to be dialogue heavy in order to make up for that. I feel like the only reason people are complaining about this is because this is a Marvel show and everyone expects this franchise to be action heavy. A film doesn't need action in order to be interesting. Nobody reviews 12 Angry Men by complaining that there weren't enough explosions. One reason why I, in particular, just gravitated towards this show so much is that I'm just a sucker for good time travel stories. I have a soft spot for this type of story, just like spy movies, as I mentioned in my Black Widow review. I really like it when shows or movies with time travel take major historical events and put some kind of twist on it, like how they revealed that Loki was D.B. Cooper. I don't know why, but I just really like that sort of thing and find it interesting. As long as they're not doing the, hey, this time-traveling character was the one who killed JFK for the nth time, I'm gonna love this sort of thing being done in a story. And for my final good thing, let's talk about the ending. Despite how much I enjoyed the finales of WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I do agree with the general consensus that they were kind of disappointing. It's like they had really good ideas for the shows, but didn't know how to end them. And that does not apply to Loki. Unlike the other shows where it feels like they made up the ending as they went along, it feels like the entirety of Loki was written around the finale. And not only was the finale well executed, it was probably my favorite episode of the series, to be honest. Although, the ending itself, where Sylvie kills Kang and Loki turns up in a version of the TVA where Mobius doesn't recognize him and Kang has taken over, gave me severe trust issues when I first watched it. Still pretty good, though. Now, let's talk about the bad. Alright, I'm gonna try to think of something I didn't like about this show. I genuinely cannot think of anything I didn't like about this show. That's not to say it has no flaws, but none of them bothered me personally. I think this might be a first for the MCU. Oh, except for how Mobius did not say wow. This is a crime against humanity. How can you have Owen Wilson in something and not have him say wow? Season 2 better end with Mobius on a jet ski saying wow, you heartless monsters. Okay, but in all seriousness, there is one problem I have with this show. It doesn't bother me that much, but I still feel like it needs to be addressed. I feel like the show went too big. Like, the implications that the ending has on the entire rest of the MCU are just too big. Now, I would normally not be complaining about this. In fact, this is something I would probably praise a movie for. Except that this is not a movie, this is a Disney Plus show. These series should be small-scale stories that don't have too much of an impact on the future of the MCU in order to accommodate Marvel fans who can't afford to give Disney $5 a month. WandaVision? Sure. Really, all it does is introduce side characters for the Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel sequels. Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Why not? You can probably just watch Endgame and understand any major plot points in future films that this establishes. But this? No. That's too much. Both of the previous series set up, side characters in one or maybe two movies. But this show directly establishes the premises of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, What If, Spider-Man No Way Home, and finally, Loki Season 2. I'm sorry, but that's just too much. And that was my review of Loki. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then leave a like, subscribe, comment something nice, click a video on screen now, or don't do any of that. I'm not your dad. Anyway, goodbye, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk.